सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Yes, I request all participants who can turn on the video feeds, please do turn on the video feeds. It's much easier to interact that way. Yes. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw last? Yes, please. Hari Om. Yes, please. Anybody? Can we recollect something? So we form the link and then proceed. As rightly said, it was a question of Arjuna. Arjuna kind of showed how much he understood what Krishna said with his question. Yes, anybody? Yes, anyone?
We discussed about the importance of teacher, guru,
Okay, okay, yes. Please continue, Aditi. We looked at the
Shraddha and knowledge. Yes.
all right. Guru, Shraddha, and knowledge. All right. Chitraji, would you like to add some more? Or is it Anjali?
Devotion,
Yeah,
devotion along with surrender.
surrender. Surrender and devotion.
Yes.
Why should one seek wisdom from a guru? Because wisdom can be found inside of oneself also. But what is the need? Probably that was mentioned in a shloka also, isn't it?
Guru
That,
leads us the way, leads us to Gyan and to God. He is a
yes.
channel between us and the divine.
Yes, yes, and we don't have to go searching for a guru. More instead, we should be conscious and enter into a state of consciousness where the gurus will actually present. It's
Yes,
actually guru is a
whenever we are
tattva.
ready,
Yeah.
whenever we are ready, the Guru appears.
Yes, yes, and there's no force in the world that can stop a
Yeah,
union of a guru and shishya when it is desired,
exactly.
when it's destined. It happens. Nothing, no force in the world, because the universe is only conspiring to make that happen. That is something which is for that probably if we want to experience Krishna's consciousness, we'll have to first enter into Arjuna's consciousness. Krishna says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. You're allowed to ask, you're allowed to seek, you're allowed to question, but seva also is required. That is something. One unknown relative of mine, I do not know why that person got triggered. When he came to know I had found my guru around after my engineering, I decided to live with my guru, and I didn't really harm anybody with that action, but a lot of people got upset. Out of that, there was one relative who called me and I heard you have a guru. I just said, yes, sir. I didn't even know how this person is connected. He just invoked some long distant connection. I was like, okay, nice to talk to you. He said, I don't need a guru. I said, okay, sir. I can learn from tree. I can learn from river. I said, it's good. No, no, see, it is wrong what you're doing. He was trying to, means as long as he is happy doing what it is fine. But then when he started coming into my territory and started trying to point out what I am doing is wrong, then I just asked him one question. Sir, you are great. You're able to communicate with the trees. You're communicating with the Akasha. You're communicating with the Nadi. All of this is fine, sir, for you. One small question is, how many times has the tree caught your ear? How many times has the river giver knock on your head when you are wrong? If it has, and that is fine because I require all of that. I require all of that to be on the right track. And I think for me, I'm not ready to directly learn from the Akash Tattva. Nadi will only tell me further what I like. I'm like this, I'm like that. It will only reinforce. I needed is what I said. That was just a short dialogue. I do not know that person hung up, and since then I have not got a call from him. That's nearly 8, 9 years ago. I do not even know how that person is related also. But this is the thing. It is a personal aspect. Nobody can force someone. Nobody can deny someone. Why we say Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru? Identify Krishna also as the Guru is sufficient. Guru is the Tattva. We saw different shlokas in Stuti of the Guru. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena charachara tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So the Guru becomes a madhyam, medium to realize what is there, the Srishti, the highest consciousness that exists everywhere. So Krishna says transformation happens by the grace. Transformation happens inside of an individual when the person surrenders. Worse, a sinner also can get transformed with the knowledge of realization. A new world, a new consciousness is created. Many times, if you see how even in the first Adhyaya, Arjuna, Dronacharya was called Dvijottama, isn't it? Best amongst the twice born. Why? Twice born means second janma taking place. Second janma takes place in life when one takes a Sharanagati of the Guru. A new janma is taken. Just today for Janmashtami, we had a very nice couple who had come from America. Name was Govinda and Sadhika. One is in English. They have assumed those names afterwards. That is not their original name. One was his. But both of them, they have decided to, you know, dedicate their life for sadhana, and that is a new birth for them, a new birth in conscience. Otherwise, they were both engineers. It was a very interesting discussion that we had today. But the new birth is the awakening, and anybody can have that birth. It is not like it needs to happen at this particular time. It can happen anytime as we choose, as we wish, when we are ready. So Shraddha is required. The knowledge comes. When knowledge comes, transformation takes place. Krishna is saying for that Shraddha is there, but there's a rider for somebody who is not having Shraddha. Such a person cannot progress. We even discussed this. Why one cannot progress without Shraddha is because we need a Shraddha sthana in life. If you don't have a Shraddha sthana, any difficult moment can shake you or break you. And most of the time, at least have a Shraddha in yourself, if not in somebody else. We lose that also, and if we lose that, the battle is already lost. You are going to doubt yourself at all times. Many times we just need somebody to tell, like how Jambavan told Anjana, you can take that leap. You are capable. Somebody touching our, head or touching our back and saying, no, go ahead. You're doing right. Many times we miss that touch only. So maybe for that today is Janmashtami. Krishna, we can ask Krishna, touch my back, give me that new birth. Let a new sadhana start for me. Let the new direction begin. So with this, we're ready because Krishna says somebody who has risen above the doubts, self-doubts or doubts about the world or doubts. We have 100,000 reasons for anxiety. Let's forget all of them. Let us have the confidence and move ahead because Krishna says very beautifully, Chitvainam Sanshayam Yoga Attishta Uttishta Bharata. How lucky can Arjuna get? We say Uttishta Govinda, Uttishta. We keep asking God's consciousness to rise, and here Govinda himself is saying Uttishta Bharata, Arjuna, rise. But Arjuna does not rise. He asks a question, Krishna, you're again confusing me. You are telling me both sides. Dono chalega nahi. Tell me one that is profitable. Tell me one that is right. Yat shreyaha. Tell me something. Yat shreya etayorekam. Tanme bruhi sunishchitam. Meaning, tell me with full clarity, without confusion, with definition, nishchitam, sunishchitam, with perfect clarity. Doesn't that indicate Krishna was not speaking with perfect clarity? Well, Krishna was speaking with perfect clarity all the time. It was Arjuna's mind, which was already lost in its own attachments and emotions, that could not grasp what Krishna was saying.
And
Yeah,
Arjuna said you are praising renunciation of actions, but Krishna has not.
never done that, no?
Yes,
Yes,
he's misunderstanding or what?
yes, it is misunderstanding. It is misunderstanding. What do you think, Aditi ji, that happened?
Why Arjun misunderstood?
Yeah, just trying. Why? Because somebody speaks and somebody listens. But generally, when you listen to someone, you probably understand. Why is it that
Might be his
misunderstanding occurs?
mind is still clouded. Might be.
Right, right. Mind is elsewhere. Mind is elsewhere. Many times, mind only attaches to certain things. So you hear, you filter also what is coming in. Knowledge which is also getting filtered to favorable and unfavorable. This has been told. Okay, I think this was told this way under this condition to fulfill my wish. That happens. So this is still Arjuna is not fully free from his own mental distortions. Most poets, most artists, they try to remove their mind from the work, and yet they do brilliant work because mind creates the disturbance, a barrier. Best singers, they try to take their emotions out, and still they will sing the most emotional rendition without feeling the emotion, because sometimes they feel this attachment will sometimes, I get emotional and I speak something, then the sur will fall when I sing. I'll have to sing that the same bhava, but not get carried away. Carrying away is the problem. Emotions are not. Arjuna is still pretty carried away, but it's still fine. He's asking questions despite his depression that he was having in the very first adhyaya. At least he's seeking light right now. So that's good. Let us continue. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasah Karmayogascha Nishreya Sakarabhubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karmayogo Vishishyate. Shri Krishna replied, the path of divine action and the way of renunciation, both these two lead to the ultimate liberation. But amongst all paths, if one were to choose the best, the way of divine union in activities is superior to the rest. This is something Krishna is saying. So, take care. People are taking complete, absolute sannyas to seek the divine. That's fine. That is also a way. Krishna is not saying it's not a way at all. But there's another way without taking that absolute sannyas also. Sannyasta kuru karmani sangam tyatva dhananjaya means do your actions in a state of sannyas. How do we do our actions in a state of sannyas? Anybody? Most of the time in families there are fights. मैं sannyas ले लूंगा और या मैं sannyas ले लूंगी. I'll go to Himalayas. All you have to do is yellow bag is ready. Then there's no response. Nobody wants to go there actually. But is it possible? Is it possible to have what we can say relations and yet be detached, perform action and yet experience sannyasa? Yes, madam. Kamala ji? Yes, ji.
Even sannyasis have their own karmas to perform. It's not like they are devoid of a few duties. They have
Yeah.
a whole lot of anushtanam nishtas to observe. So
Yes.
it's not like you want to run away from it or you don't want to follow any karma based
But
action.
sannyasi, you are referring to sannyasi as in who is the sannyasi you are referring to?
Sannyasi is a person who has taken up
By sannyas, by definition of
sannyas. Yeah, by
shastra.
definition sannyas.
But in our
But
shastra,
taken the diksha. Yeah.
there was another type of sannyas also, the sannyas of a Janaka Raja. He was also a
Yes.
sannyas. And even
Yes.
Narada Muni got scared. Sri Aurobindo has told Narada Muni also was oblivious of the sannyasa of a Janaka. So if
Right.
at all, Krishna gives us the example about when we seek Loka Sangra also, he says, become the like Janaka Raja.
Correct. He makes a reference.
Yeah.
There is also a term called Sthita Prajna.
Yes,
I
Sthita
don't know if you've
Prajna.
covered it last
Yeah,
week. I
it
missed.
came. Yes, Sthita Prajna
Okay.
Bhasha. That was there in the second adhyaya. Yes.
Oh, right.
So
So
sannyas
somebody
need
who has
not.
got,
Yes, so it need
yeah,
not be an outer garb only. No, the outer token of sannyasa is not the only definition of sannyasa. We can say yes, outer token will also that person can be sannyasi, but not just the outer one. So while actions also, it's a different type, which probably Arjuna is not aware and Krishna is right now introducing to Arjuna. Okay, see here, if you ask, there is a possibility, and if you look at it, even Adi Shankaracharya, he had told, yad yad karma karomi tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Means every karma that I am doing is an aradhana. Every
yes.
karma. So that means tomorrow I am going to office. I can do office work also in a state of sannyas. That is something which Krishna is introducing. We'll have to just see if
I
Arjuna
think there
can
is
just
the
palate level.
shloka
Yeah.
later
Yes,
on,
Raghav.
and there's
Yeah.
a shloka which goes like Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasya
Yadjoshi tadasi
yad tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushya madarpanam.
Madarpanam.
It's the same
Absolutely.
thing as what Shankara said.
Yes, absolutely. Because the truth is one, no? All these great saints, they realize it, they realize the same truth. And that is why we try to connect dots, because we can see them directly connected, because that consciousness is one and they have realized it. It also gives us hope that yes, if they all could realize it, I think we are not so far away also.
So, Sushruti, can we say there he by sannyasa here he's referring to karma yogi who has Or I
Shloka
mean,
is
can we
coming.
substitute?
Krishna is defining in the next shloka ji. In shloka number 3. Let us look at
Okay.
it. Yes, ji. Nyayah sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. A sannyasi can be thus defined, O mighty armed one, as he who holds attachments none. For he experiences neither desire nor dislike. Detachedly, he considers both to be alike. Na dveshti, na kankshati. Such a person is a nitya sannyasi, meaning the person sannyasi is nitya, eternal, all the time. Is not having hate. Question comes in mind, shouldn't we hate the wrongdoer? Anybody? Somebody is doing wrong, injustice. Shouldn't we hate that person? Are we going to become too tolerant that we cannot have hate inside of our heart? How will we bring justice without hate? That's a hypothesis many people say. We need to have hate. But is it necessary? Anybody? Because
No, hate is not necessary. But
hate is
to
not necessary.
understand that what he's doing is wrong, that's all is necessary.
So Vivek Buddhi is required, and then
Yes.
should we tolerate? Like many people say, Gita teaches a principle of ahimsa, that is, keep getting slapped, keep getting punched. Nobody kills anybody, nobody hurts anybody.
No,
Atman
no,
doesn't get hurt.
but Krishna only did Sudarshan Chakra.
Yeah,
मारा भी तो
no,
कृष्ण जी ने था.
no, so that is not the principle of the Gita, no, then that we should keep receiving. One person slaps one chick, show the other chick to get slapped. That's not the
No,
principle of the Gita.
no,
Arjuna has to get up and fight, but
yes.
without dvesha. This is something. I met a person in the armed forces who has what they call 42 kills to his name. 42. It's like huge. And I did not know about this person's 42 kills. Almost 8, 9 years later only I came to know about it. Oh, this person. He's a complete family person. It doesn't look like that. But so the aspect is that is a different aspect. When you're doing duty, you will have to do it with absolute detachment, without any moha, without any attachment. But when you have hatred corrupts you only. Vivek Buddhi goes on
One
vacation.
one question I have to ask here. अब जो
Yes,
इतने आजकल इट्स घोर कलयुग,
right.
इतने क्राइम्स हो रहे हैं, मर्डर्स,
Right.
रेप्स, पता नहीं क्या क्या हो रहा है, मतलब एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग इज हैपनिंग.
Right, right.
So that you tend to get furious, you tend to get
Yes, yes, yes. You
hurt,
tend to get
and आपके
furious.
अंदर एजिटेशन भी आती है. तो
Right, yes,
so it
yes.
is in a way it is a hatred towards those people. तब आप ये ज्ञान यूज नहीं कर सकते कि उनसे हेट मत करो जो कर्म उन्होंने करा.
हाँ.
तो अब एक
But
रेपिस्ट है, वो
बड़ा
रोज
कहना
छोटे
you
बच्चों का
are
क्या
telling, I
क्या कर
guess,
रहे
I think this now recent case which has shook the entire
हैं. There are
nation. I
so
think you
many
are referring to
cases.
it.
Till
No,
Sages
yeah.
they had
If we are discussing one at a time, we cannot discuss all
yeah,
because we have limitation
right,
of
right,
time,
right.
and we have to study Gita and not the cases also. So we come back to say you gave a reference of one very
Hmm.
recently, this particular doctor's case only, which shook the conscience of all nation. But what is happening in the hatred also is political forces utilize that very much.
Right, right.
Just now, recently in Pondicherry, there was this the doctors went on a agitation. Then they planned to go to the promenade. Political parties ensured that this gets infiltrated, and they were planning to. Means they had actually got all the permissions and everything to take that on walk on the promenade. But political parties had decided to infiltrate that and break CCTV cameras and start their own new aspect. So what had to happen is at least Vivek Buddhi is there in the start. You should be able to understand. Means there is an art of war also. The art of war also must be known. If a soldier has hatred, he's going to become trigger friendly. In that, civilians also will get lost. We will look at gunas later on. Arjuna asked, why do people sin, isn't it? Raga esha, kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guna samadbhava. So there's a state, I think Anjuji, hatred will not help. We will see later in the Gita. Because hatred will not allow you to remember. Hatred will make you lose your skill. You have a talent. Boxers, when they fight, they cannot fight with hatred. Many times, good boxers are triggered into disturbance on the inside so that they lose their skill and then they are beaten up.
Yeah,
So
you are
what we
right.
have to,
Wisdom चली जाएगी फिर.
yes, and we have to
हाँ,
become conscious. We have to not allow this to, because
Exactly.
see, vultures will, they eat over dead bodies only. That is what vultures will do. We are not going to allow them to take that, but at the same time, conscious awakening takes place, start forming circles, there's an action going on. There's an action going on actually. Yes. So anyway, let us continue. So Dveshti is important because it is a poison that we are not Shiva, unfortunately, isn't it? Nilakantha can hold that poison in the throat. Unfortunately, we get affected by that poison. We start seeing everything in that light. So for that reason, we should not. But it is not tolerating injustice anywhere. Gita has never told that. Only how to give. Shatham pratishathyam. Lokmanya Tilak had given that. He is the one who's written Gita Rahasya. How it is, we'll have to reach that consciousness, because Krishna also is not what we can say. We will see Krishna's Raudra Roop also in the Gita later on. That is there. So let us continue. We are looking at sannyasa because again that will take the study elsewhere. Coming back to what is a sannyasi? A sannyasi is the one who does not have hatred, na kankshati. It's not specific desires also. I have no desire from the other person. Say I'm in a relationship with somebody and I have desires that this person appreciates me, this person talks to me in this particular manner, this person at least heeds to this demand of mine, this little request. Problem is that person cannot read my mind. No? That person is not a robot who is going to function according to the programming code I have inserted. Each person will work until later on we'll see the way of functioning. So when desires don't get fulfilled, again we are troubled. So most of the time sansara is not enjoyable because sansara is bringing more troubles only. But a sannyasi is living in the sansara in the lay of the divine consciousness. Ramta jogi behta pani. Nobody can stop the force, the
Can
spirit.
we say that our emotions usually involve us and attach us to the actions that we do? And
Uh,
therefore, we should keep
sometimes
the emotions out so that we don't get attached or involved directly into it.
and sometimes we have to leave the emotions also. That we need a higher mind or vivek buddhi, little bit, because we have seen indriya, mana, manasastu para buddhi, and then there is the higher consciousness which is higher than the buddhi also. And if we want to just say, it's like emotions they can be like a face's mask. They can help us in our every task. At times they have to be shown, at times they have to be thrown. We should not be so attached to our emotions also that we forget what is the higher truth. But let us come back to what sannyasi is. A sannyasi is living the life, living the world, but not getting trapped in the dvandva, both dvesha nor kanksha. Nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. That person is free. He has no attachments. We will have to see, because this is a new concept that way. From everyday life, we say these little attachments only make life wonderful. That is why there should be fights in relationships. This is all very nice dialogue for young couples. Same couple you meet after 2 decades of those same fights, they'll say, Bhagwan, what happened? I would rather not have them. Because this is something which we have not yet fully understood. Arjuna is not ready. Arjuna is not. We will see Arjuna tell whether I agree to you or not. What Krishna is just saying. We'll have to see what is the logic. But right now, Krishna says, Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Balaha Pravadantina Panditaha Ekamapya Sthitaha Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. It is children naive who thus consider and think that renunciation and liberated actions are contrasting. For the wise can successfully operate with both in sync, and the results of such actions are everlasting. If you are able to detach yourself, you will be accessing what is a higher consciousness. The higher consciousness can allow us to operate in a way that the divine wants us rather than our own intellectual, emotional. All of these have limitations, but the divine functioning is limitless. Like now, Anjuji talked about that case disturbed me also permanent. But like on the inside, it's as bad as what Every case is, there's no higher or lower. What can I do about it is I could not continuously watch the TV, of course, because that will only increase the agitation on the inside. Went on with my duty, then I just prayed, actually I wrote a small poem. I didn't think that this poem would mean anything. It was just my expression and it was a prayer. Later on, I come to know that a bunch of doctors read that in an agitation where they were sitting together and protesting. And there it was something like, chalo, theek hai, a small drop, what they say, like in the Setu, one small contribution of the squirrel in Rama's Setu, something like that. Consciously, when we unite, we can all do a role. And we underestimate the power of that consciousness, the divine consciousness, which is functioning in the world inside of us also. For that, to understand it, we'll have to be careful. We have to be free from this because these two, sometimes we get trapped. In moha, I feel, no, this is all right. It's okay. This should happen like this only. It's all right. हम कहाँ सन्यासी है? हम कहाँ बड़े योगी है? We say these dialogues so often. That and all is very good for those big guys. I am just an ordinary person. But an ordinary person only does wrong when the consciousness is not there, higher consciousness. Yes, Dr. Vidisha ji shared that. Yes, I'll share it to you. Yes, and after the session, of course. So, but little actions, they can have long-lasting effect. That is what Krishna is saying when operated from the higher consciousness. Yat sankhyahi prapyate sthanam tadyogayrapi gamyate ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha yaha pashyati saha pashyati. This is something which will come again and again. Yaha pashyati saha pashyati. Literally meaning he who sees can see. But for he who cannot see cannot see. What is Krishna telling something big here? He who sees can see. Meaning he who is able to see the marma, who is able to see the inner meaning behind the what we can say, behind the unseen providences of things. Lots of things are taking place which we don't understand. If you can see from that eye, you'll be able to understand. Because many times people have eyes, they can see, but still they don't use them. If you don't want to see a truth, it will be in front of you and you can ignore it, isn't it? Inconvenient truths are always, people say, turning a blind eye to it. Why? Because previous personal attachments, personal, what we can say, preconceived notions. One event happens, five people see, five people interpret it differently. Who is the one who is able to see properly? It depends on the person whose consciousness is clear, who is not having the, what we can call a barrier, either emotional, sometimes mental, sometimes intellectual barriers are also there. My own intellect, I am so great, I am going to look at nano level only. What is happening at macro level, you are not seeing, you are trying to go into a different aspect. So Krishna says the same status, which from renunciation may be won by a divine union in works, can be reached with ease. For both renunciation and liberated actions are one. He who can thus see, he truly sees. Same status with the great sannyasi and yogi is doing the great tapasya. It is not easy. Doing tapasya is not easy at all. Tapasya itself has the element of tapa. Tapa means what? Fire, heat. Such it is a sacrifice when a person does tapasya. This is interesting that Krishna is saying that same status of consciousness that is earned by a tapasvi. Where do they? They go to the Himalayas. You see, snow-clad mountains, they are naked, not wearing clothes and not having hypothermia. We wear big sweaters, go and for just taking a photo or for 15 minutes and we suffer from hypothermia. But these yogis are able to control. How? How? Well, that is the Hatha Yoga which they practice. Such great strength. They have done that tapasya. Interestingly, Krishna says that same consciousness which they are receiving through this tapasya, an individual can experience where anywhere that person works in consciousness with in union with the divine. Because renunciation and liberated actions, they are one. Your karma, as Kamalaji said, I think when even the yogis or tapasvis, actions don't stop, isn't it? Actions go on. So this is one. If you can see, you are able to see the truth. Simple question. Where is it easy to meditate? In your homes or in some nice hill station? Anybody? Nobody around. Where is it easy? Room service is also
Oh.
there in the hill station. Yes.
Early
Good.
mornings anywhere.
Yes, see?
Early mornings
Early mornings when nobody
anywhere.
is disturbing. Okay, okay. I think a lot of people are already having this Nitya Sannyas state already, that in their homes. Personally, I remember it's like something somebody is going to tell me, somebody is going to come and ask me something. I'm going to have some, my sister is there, so she and I will have some fight over something. Hey, get up, move. What are you doing? This is mine. So instead, when you're alone, when nobody is there, that time, comparatively, if we look at it, I think it's easier, isn't it? But what is easy is always better, or what is tough is better in terms of challenge? What is tough only, isn't it? So meditating in sometimes a crowded place, it may be challenging, but what is challenging must be attempted. And Krishna is saying that, see, maybe because of the challenge only it becomes more special. It's easy to run away from your duties, easy to run away from your responsibilities. You have a responsibility towards yourself also, isn't it? We sometimes forget that because we are satisfied. We are in what comfort zone. Everywhere mind has the tendency to search for comforts. But Krishna is saying this very clearly. No, if you are truly in consciousness with the divine, any action you are doing, you are going to experience that same state of consciousness. It's like that of the great yogis who are doing tapasya. It's like this. Anybody has heard of this Vyadha Gita, the Gita of the butcher? Yes, Vyadha Gita, this story, anyone has heard? So I'm going to just very short, we'll look at it and quickly go ahead because this is in the, maybe later on you can search because like I said, my stories are not perfectly accurate, only Bhavartha you can take. So there was this tapasvi doing great tapasya in the forests. And as a result of certain tapasyas, he received siddhis. There are various types of siddhis which people receive. Siddhi is accomplishment of sadhana. So some siddhi he had received. Anybody who would disturb him, he could, with his krodha, turn to ashes. So he was doing dhyana beautifully under the tree, and two birds fighting and creating a lot of noise. Disturbed, he just did a tratak at those birds. Force with full focus. They caught fire and died. And he went back into his dhyana. So after a good dhyana, he entered into the city from the to the nearby village from the forest. What do the yogis do? They receive bhiksha only, isn't it? Sannyasi don't have their own, so they go bhavati bhiksha, and he goes to a home and asks. There's a woman inside. She's a householder, gruhini. She hears the sannyasi's call, Om bhavati bhikshan dehi. She says, yes, yes, I'm coming. Just at that moment, her husband comes. So immediately she decides to look after the husband first. So she quickly attends to her husband and then I'll come. That is what she indicates. And she's gone inside. This person is now, his temperature is rising. What has happened? Am I being ignored? Waited for some more time. Some more, again, Om Bhavati Bhikshandehi, his voice increases. This time there is anger in the voice. Immediately from the inside, a voice comes. I am not those birds you can burn just like that. I am doing my duty. Let me finish it and come. Now the sannyasi has got shocked. How did she enter into my sadhana? How did she understand I am doing this tapasya? How does she know about this siddhi? It's supposed to be a gupta sadhana. I am doing it quite alone. He says, he says, no, I learned from my guru. Who is your guru? I'll tell you the way. So she tells him the direction. He goes to a place and that is the place of a butcher. He is now more frustrated. Where is the Shaucha? Where is this? What kind of person he is? I am going to now give this fellow only a lecture. What is it? And then later on, it is actually Narayana who has taken that to break an ignorance inside of that yogi for transformation. Many times we decide and we become judgmental. We say this is higher work, this is lower work. When you're doing karma, karma is karma. We don't know. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Gita has only told that smallest action can also protect you from greatest danger when done consciously. So we have a dharma towards self, dharma towards society, dharma towards world. Everything we can automatically do. It falls in place when you become conscious of your swadharma for the moment. But for that, we should not think any action is lower or higher. Holding clothes is as important as a biggest work, whatever we consider. Means when you are doing it, do it properly. Cooking also. When I first reached my Guruji, he said, if you don't know to cook, you cannot do sadhana. Also, stay away from the Ayurvedic manufacturing. I'll never allow you to come in near manufacturing. I was a little bit, I had to learn. So I said, okay, let me start. Then later on, he told me, because if you don't know to cook, you will not understand. That is a important aspect of your of life for becoming self-disciplined also. You're not dependent on anybody also, and you will start learning. And for Ayurveda, it turns out to be most important because you have to speak. There is the herbs herbs will not speak in English language. They will rasa, gandha, sparsha. They will talk in their language. So you will have to understand that language. So like that, little actions which we ignore, thinking it will help us. Sometimes we ignore our duties towards our body, thinking it's not so important. Again, that is also equally important. And Krishna is saying, if you become conscious, no difference. You don't have to think I am inferior, because many times we feel that while we have to respect yogis, we have to. That is our Sanatan Dharma. We respect sannyasis, we respect everybody. That does not mean we should disrespect ourselves also. And for that, we have to become conscious. Krishna goes on, he says, Sannyasastu Mahabaho
Excuse me, sir.
Dukkhamapam. Yeah, who is it? Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I can't see the screen.
Sir, Garima this side.
Garima ji,
Sir,
namaste ji. Yes.
carry on.
Yeah.
This fourth one I couldn't understand.
Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Balaha Pravadantina Panditaha. Means when we say these are naive children, means what we can say, ये बच्चे हैं इनको समझ में नहीं आता है, like that we say, no? Children who are naive means they have not yet matured enough, they have not grown in consciousness, they have not understood. Pruthak Bala is the word which Krishna is using. For whom? For those who are making that dvandva or divide. Who are making the divide in what? That renunciation is different and liberated action is different. No, this person is doing karma, so this person cannot be sannyasi. Janaka Raja is a bhogi. He is not a yogi because see, he is living in palace. He is doing Rajya Dharma. He is doing so many things. So he is bhogi. That is that is what we can say, because the mind has not yet learned to understand. So they are called Prithak Balaha. So the next
Sir,
part.
when we are telling, so what is the exact meaning of liberated action? Is it like only the action which we do towards divine, going towards
Any
divine?
action liberated from the bandhanas. Bandhanas of what? Expectations, of outcomes, attachments, anxieties, personal interference. So many bandhanas come into a simple action also.
Can
Somebody
our
takes a pen and
activity,
paper. Yeah, tell me, James. Yes?
sorry, so can our day-to-day activity be part of liberated action?
Yeah. Mother should, even a mother is liberated, then the son and daughter will also be liberated. We don't realize that liberated actions of parenting also is liberated action. It should be like that. Otherwise, parents' attachments become impositions on children.
Okay.
I have expectation for my child. My child must do like this. Otherwise will start coming in. Conditional. We cannot have, no. Love is what? Liberating only, isn't it? Is it conditional always? It's unconditional if it is true. It's simple as that. If it is conditional, it is what we can say it is having mishran of ahankar or ajnana, something else is mixed into it. Wonderful coffee, but somebody has put excess salt in it. Will you drink it? Nobody puts salt in coffee in the first place. So why in all of this? So actions should be free. So non-free actions, they have consequences. They have sanskaras. They create more sanskaras, create more karma bandhanas. So liberated action in the sense is any action can become liberated if we are not trapped by expectations.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's
Thank you.
continue. Thank you. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptum mayogataha yogayukto munir brahma nachirena dhigachati. It is difficult to achieve the state of renunciation without uniting with the divine in every action. For the wise sage who has attained this togetherness, the knowledge of Brahma, he can soon unearth and harness. This is the highest state which Krishna is saying. He says, it is difficult to attain the state of renunciation without becoming one with the divine. To experience what it is in the undiluted, pure consciousness, without becoming one with the divine, you cannot experience it. The wise sages have already attained this oneness. They have, what is yoga? Yoga is oneness. The oneness of what? Man and God. Divinity is now one inside of a person. That Dvaita has disappeared. Such a person can experience the, what we can say, knowledge of Brahma. He can soon unearth and harness. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. The purest soul who in yoga engages, having gained victory over his six senses, in whose self the realization of every being is found, his actions are liberated, for by work he is not bound. Somebody who has attained the oneness, Yoga Yukto. Who is Yoga Yukta in Arjuna and Krishna right now? Anybody? Two people only. So one we know.
Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna. So he is Yoga Yukto. Means he is in a state of yoga. Yoga with what? Krishna is divine himself, isn't it? But he's in connection with the divine consciousness of Brahma. That is why this Gita is also taking place. Highest consciousness, Brahma Gyan is flowing. Do you know Arjuna asks Krishna again for the Gita after the Gita is over? Anybody was aware of that? He heard all of it, then entered into the battle. Then after the battle, he said, "Arey, I was engaged in so much action. Looks like some of the great wisdom that you have said appears to have diluted or lost. Krishna, tell it to me again." He says, "No, I cannot." He says, "What do you mean you cannot?" He says, "That time I was yoga yukta. I was in that state. Right now, you also are not in the same state that you were that time. So you will not receive the same Gita. But because the bhakta is sincere, divine always answer a sincere call. So he gives another Gita, which is then called Anugita, a shorter version of the Gita. So divine also is, it's like network coverage is required, something like that. We need to be connected with that divine. Otherwise, we will not understand. And this is a Vishuddhatma who is also Jitendriya. The olden times, hero's name was Jitendra, but whether he was Jitendra, we do not know. But we know another real Jitendra who is Hanuman, isn't it? Manojam ma rudatulya vegam Jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtam Vatasmajam va narayuta mukhyam Shri Ram Dutam Sharanam Prapadhe. How did he become Jitendra? Becoming a Duta of Sri Rama. Means this surrendering to Sri Rama has given him that strength to overcome this Indriyas. So again, surrender will help you overcome the pull of the Indriyas. This is one important aspect. Krishna says somebody who has attained the victory over the senses has attained victory over self, and such a person, the realization of every being is found. Meaning this person is able to understand from where people are coming from. Many times we don't understand why this person is doing this way, why is that person. Somebody who is sthita prajna can understand, chalo, uska dimag kharab ho gaya hai. So the behavior is happening. I understand it. It is not going to disturb me so much. Somebody else's brain has got fried. Should not mean my brain should get fried, isn't it? I'm able to keep at least one. Otherwise, it's always like chain reaction. Something happens, another person immediately experiences it. So we'll have to form that, what we can say, some kind of inner barrier. That is the detachment. Naiva kinchit karometi yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrunvan sprashan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shwasan. The knower of the true principles of all existence knows that he is not the cause of his subsistence, nor is he performing the acts of seeing, hearing, touching, or smelling, nor the actions of eating, moving, sleeping, or even breathing. Krishna says somebody who has got that Tattva Gyan, that person understands that I am not the doer. Not the doer in the sense I am not doing all of these activities. These activities are sustaining me. Breathing. How many of us are breathing right now? We all are. But are we consciously breathing, or breathing is happening on its own? Involuntarily. It's happening involuntarily. Suddenly breathing mechanism decides to go on a strike. Lungs say, bahut ho gaya. Enough. I want to break. 15 minutes break, 10 minutes. I'll get back to you after a while. What's going to happen? Our astitva will disappear. So the very fact that is keeping us alive, the entire dreams that we see, everything is based on what? Actions which are not in our control only. These are all indriyas, the seeing, these are all actions of us for our, which is keeping us, which is, sustaining our life on earth. These are all actions which are not in our control. That is what Krishna is trying to say. He says somebody who understands, he understands. I am not doing these acts, but these acts are being done through me. Eyes are seeing. Tomorrow, say my eyesight disappears. Will I cease to exist? No. I have a friend, she's a journalist. She cannot see, but her articles do not reveal that at all. She sees a better world, bigger world, talking to people. She understands. She asks about ambience and everything, which I've never heard anybody ask. That ambience also appears in the article, which many times people who see and take face-to-face interviews also don't realize the ambience which is there. Why? Another set of consciousness is there. So these are all just different facts. These are parts of our existence, but they themselves are not all. Krishna says, Pralapan Visrajan Grinan Unmishan Nimishan Api Indriyani Indriyartheshu Vartanta iti dharayan. Neither in the physical acts of speaking or adjusting, nor in the involuntary acts of eyes opening or closing, for he knows that in these actions it isn't he who is acting, and understands that his senses are but merely reacting. To understand this shlokas 8 and 9, it is very imperative, or it's nice if you can just study what they call the Atma Shatakam. Anybody is aware of it? If you can just share something about it, if you know. Nice set of mantras composed by a young boy. He was just asked, who are you? When we are asked that, we say, I am so and so working in this firm. I am child of this person. I am this, that. All these are all IDs, no, outer IDs. Say if I am a researcher. Tomorrow my research organization does not function, and what will happen to me then? I'll still continue to be something, isn't it? I am so and so employee of this organization. That firm takes me out. Does that mean my value has disappeared? Or who am I truly? What is my ID? Well, that it is not just the ID that is shown, isn't it, in the workplace, that badge. So like that, there was this question, who are you? And a beautiful answer was given by Adi Shankaracharya. Yes,
You
Kamalaji?
said Nirvana Shatakam, right? Or Atma
Yes, yes.
Shatakam?
They both are,
Mhm.
it is the
Okay.
same thing is called Atmashatakam also.
Acha,
Some
yeah, what I am not, he tells.
Yeah, Mano Buddhyankar Chittani Naham Nacha
Mhm.
Shrotra Jive Nacha Ghrana Netre Nacha Vyoma Bhumi Na Tejo Na Vayu Chidananda Rupa. Yes, I am not
Shivoham.
this, I am not this, I am not this. Then who am I? Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Well, this is something. If you look at it on the face value, you will say Katham. Shivoham. Today only your Shiva was insulted by somebody else. Where am I, Shiva? How can you call me Shiva? Or how can I be Shiva? Well, you'll have to go outside of this outer Dwandwa. You'll have to go quiet inside to experience that. And this was an answer which was given extempore by a child. How, just you study the Atma Shatakam, you will yourself understand. It is worth consciously reading it also. Maybe you memorize it, maybe don't memorize it. But just think about it. How can a child even think that way? How is it possible? But that realization was there. So that is something. Let us continue. One Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasa papena padmapatram mivam bhasa. A beautiful example Krishna gives. A nice simile. Padma Patram Mevambhasa. One who consecrates to the Brahman his every action and performs them in a state of renunciation. No sin can ever pollute his immaculate belief, just as the droplets of water cling not to a lotus's leaf. This is sannyasa. What is sannyasa? Look at the lotus leaf to understand what sannyasa is. Anybody has seen a lotus leaf and the droplets of water on it? Anything? Can someone just tell me or describe what you have seen there? Anybody?
They appear as pearls on the leaf.
Yeah, they look beautiful, isn't it? Pearls. So the leaf is where? In water only, no, Renuji? But
Yes.
water is not able to wet it.
Yeah. Yes.
That is detachment. You are in the midst of work and still not getting trapped in the entanglements of works. Krishna was there. Krishna's colors are all colors. And yet Krishna's color is a separate one which nobody fully understands it. It is something like water. Water easily mixes, isn't it? With whichever color you add, one more color, it changes. Another color is added. ठीक है. But what is the color of water? Water is different. Something like that. Krishna gives the example of Padma Patram. Who is it? One who consecrates to the Brahman every action and performs them in a state of renunciation. No sin can ever pollute his immaculate belief, just as the droplets of water cling not to the lotus's leaves. Krishna goes on, Kayena manasa buddhya kaivaler indriyairapi yoginah karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. By their bodies, minds, intellects or senses, they function and consider not any of them as their own. For them, a perfect detachment is known, and so they engage in the process of self-purification. They understand the need for Atma Shuddhi, becoming better. Many people wonder what is the need, why is it? But I think if you see which is our best moment or something, sometimes it is best of relationships that we have experienced with some people that we consider very fondly, isn't it? But in that relationship, if you try to, how do you better it? By bringing in faults or trying to make it better? By removing faults only, isn't it? We understand, Kicho, this is nice, this person, I'm enjoying this association. So what do I do better? What can I give more is the bhavna, no? Like that, the yogi is also understanding, Kichalo, I have to now become better. I have to give myself more to the divine. Atma Shuddhi, there is no limit to perfection. Just as an athlete tries to improve and rise higher and higher, greater levels have to be reached, something like that. The yogi is focusing only on Atma Shuddhi. But their bodies, minds, intellects, or senses, they function. And consider not any of them as their own, meaning they are not so attached. What happens when you are not so attached? When a difficult moment comes, when you may have to lose any of this, you're not going to get broken. Many times a friend of mine lost this taste during COVID time and entered into panic attacks. What is this? Taste is gone, taste is gone, taste is gone. Hey, some people's lives are gone right now. Are you going to be so worried about losing taste? Just, this is nothing. One person I know got black fungus. It was so horrible. The brother was saying this person did not survive, it is good. It was such a horrible time that was happening. But detachment is required. But here, person is so lost. Here, Krishna says that these yogis, they understand these are what we call, I think in aeroplanes, there is something called autopilot, no? Yes, anybody has heard of it. Autopilot mode means the pilot doesn't have to continuously steer. When required, okay, turbulence is there, I have to intervene, I'll look at it. But otherwise, it is leading. That is how life also goes for a yogi. Yogi is reacting when required. Otherwise, yogi is one step back. Doing what? Atma Shuddhi. Where am I less? I need to improve. How can I become better? How can I offer myself? How can I be more available to the divine? That is the entire purpose of sadhana of the yogi. Let us continue. Because they understand the meaning of detachment, really. Yuktah karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim ayuktaha kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. By giving up all desires for the outcomes of actions, the zenith of peace, a soul can attain certainly. But those bound by desires of actions live uncertainly, obsessed with phantom fruits and their material attractions. Krishna is very clearly saying the difference between yogi and bhogi. Yogi is ready. Ready for what? Ready for the worst also. And ready for the best also. Siddha. Siddha at all times. But a bhogi is always trapped, wanting something only continuously, insecure. Insecurity is always there inside of a bhogi. Who is going to be peaceful? Somebody who has 100 expectations or somebody who has no expectation? Anybody? Don't you think we can become free, or is it impractical to become free in life? We must suffer, we must have worries at all times. We must understand everything in the world functions according to our mind only, our emotions only, and we must control the universe through our emotions. Such an approach, does it give us peace? Because many times I will not let like Dilli hum kabhi nahi denge, something like that. My emotions I will never let go. A lot of people are in that state of mind. But does that give peace? Anybody? This very hypothesis of holding on to emotions, does it guarantee favorable results? Holding on to attachments, holding on to desires, does it guarantee? Or what happens because of it? Anybody?
No, it's very painful. Like when we
It's
are,
very painful.
yes,
Ji.
even if we see somebody suffering, we don't help. We also get into trouble and start uh, giving pain to ourselves.
We can, yes, and we're not able to, means we'll have to keep our emotions aside, no? If we want to
Yes,
help also. Otherwise, it will just be emotional party of people crying together. Nothing
yes,
more than that.
yes.
Means I was emotionally disturbed before I met my Guruji. I was most disturbed. I read in Reader's Digest about some children in Africa. They are not having anything, so they are eating mud. I was like, what is this? Why should I eat Black Forest cake for my birthday when they are having only mud? And I was so much disturbed and everything. And I remember going to my teacher and what is wrong in feeling for all of them? I asked this question. He said, how can a person who is crying wipe another person's tear? Was the first question he asked me. When you are yourself emotional and crying, what can I do? I can say, chalo, let's both of us cry together. We'll cry over your difficult situation. Then after our tears are exhausted, I'll go my way, you go your way. I'll keep remembering you and crying about you. That's all I can do, isn't it? This is my life. This is my story. My life is always sorrow. Zindagi ne zindagi bhar gum diye. This is a very famous song in college when I was there. My friends would sing this song every time they were refused to go on a date. This was a very common song that time. But this aspect of always having attachments and thinking that these attachments will ensure a result is actually wrong, but it happens by Prakriti, by default. A yogi understands this and says, I need to come out of this cycle. I need to be free. And that is why the yogi is able to detach. And because of that, the yogi is peaceful. What happens when you're peaceful? What happens when you're free? Well, basically, you can sing a song, you can write something, you can draw. You are free to experience life, isn't it? Most of the time, we don't. Means there are certain things which we enjoy doing, but throughout our life, we are never free. Something or the other, we are trapped.
And in
But,
fact, when we
yeah,
able to look for the solution, not
yeah.
not cry with them, but look for the right way to solve the problem.
Yes, yes, yes. So this aspect of running after fruits is overestimated everywhere. People say attract money by thinking about money all the time. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Think about your desire, you will get it. No, you will not. The thought is a mental impulse, isn't it? So many karmic actions are there. Focus on your karma, whether it comes or doesn't come. Sometimes people do for, I have worked so much, I have to get now. This is the time. This is the high time because Jyotishacharya told me I'm going to get promotion right now. So I am going to work extra hard so I get a raise. No raise comes, this person gets frustrated and then so frustrated that this person starts shouting at the superior only and say, enough of this, I'm leaving this job. And then he goes back to the Jyotishacharya. What happened? He said, no, no, see, this was this particular Rahu Kal, you should not have shouted. Now this is all hindsight, isn't it? What is the use of all of it? Instead, if you are free, you can actually experience, you can experience the joy, you can experience the joy of a free life. When are we going to get free post-retirement? Many people have this, when we're very, no, not now, after some years, I'll become free later on, I am not. But problem is that later on never comes. And for the yogi is forever free. Free for what? Not for whiling away time, free for being available in the service of the divine, and the divine utilizes the yogi as an instrument to do divine actions, which bring about great action, transformations in the world. And that is what we should also be available for the divine. That is something. For that, we need to be peaceful, because Sri Aurobindo also says it is only in the calm that the divine works. We are not calm, no, we will become asuras only. That's not something anybody wants. Let us continue. We look at two shlokas and we'll stop. We'll stop at 14th shloka then. Yes. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan karayan. Possessing self-control with perfection, with poise, he dwells in nature with satisfaction. Within the 9 gates of the physical body he resides, neither in being the doer nor in the cause he prides. So Krishna says possessing self-control, full control over self. What is this self-control? Keeping that shanti. Even in exciting moments, suddenly we get overexcited, isn't it? Something happens according to our wish, emotions become too much. There also shanti becomes what we can say bhanga at that time. So self-control at all times, good or bad. With poise, poise is the balance which is required. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Samatvam. Many times we feel we should get excited with our dear ones, near ones. Anybody, do you agree to this or you disagree? Samatva is not required that time. Can we understand people better when we are excited? Can we understand ourselves better? No. Best example is baby happily celebrating birthday. Ah, I got my favorite cake. It's like two springs under the legs, jumping around continuously. Big smiley face appears like a big smile. In that excitement, the hand hits the cake falls down. Immediately, a different siren starts crying continuously. So what has happened here? In excitement, the person has lost the good moment. Sometimes we have to relish because we don't get divine moments so often. To experience the joy of the divine moment also, we need to contain our emotions so we can experience what they call a full rasa of the kshana. Every kshana has that potential. Krishna was around, no? In Vrindavan, everybody experienced that. At every little thing also, little actions also, that was what was the joy. Why is birthday is celebrated so much today, was celebrated all across the world. Why? Because he is the source of Ananda. Devaki Paramanandam. That always, yeah, Devaki is Ananda, source of Ananda for the full Srishti also. Because the rasa of every moment, where Krishna was, there is Rasa Leela was there. And those who were surrendered to Krishna could experience Rasa Leela. Those who had not surrendered experienced frustration in Maya, trapped with attachment, trapped with frustration, intellectual limitation, emotion, everything comes in between. So here Krishna is saying they are having great self-control with perfection. With boys, he dwells in nature with satisfaction. This is also important. Being trupta. Trupti is very, very important. Santosha eva purushasya param nidhanam. The greatest wealth is if you are having contentment. Whatever you have, you'll be happy with it. Even less appears more when you have that gratitude inside of you. If that is missing, you'll have everything in the world and still feel like, "Arey, I'm a beggar, I'm a poor person, I don't have anything." Because gratitude is missing. So here they are trupta, they are balanced, they are having gratitude. Within the 9 gates of the physical body, he resides. The yogi resides inside of the temple of 9 gates. This Sharira is called temple of 9 gates. Why is it? Anybody? Any guesses?
Is it to do with the Shariratrayam concept?
Yes,
The
the
three layers?
not Sharira
Shar-
Trayam, Sharira Dwaram. Navadvara is there in the Sharira. The
Yeah,
openings
yeah.
of the eyes, the openings of the ears, the openings of the nose, mouth, all these are openings. And it is said that just like prana, apana, sancharan happens, life force is moving. It is said Krishna also is very naughty and mischievous. He will run out. Yogi says, no, Kanaji is going to stay inside. I will not let him go away. So I will not experience frustration. Whatever I hear, I will not get disturbed. So something like that. The yogi has full self-control and is residing inside of this consciousness, meaning the consciousness does not get scattered. Many times we do brilliant dhyana. We experience a kind of maybe a taste or a trickle of an ananda we get. Next thing happens is we get a phone call from somebody. Suddenly all that ananda has disappeared, or somebody comes in front of us, we start talking something, gone. Hey, just now I was feeling what has happened. But then we start trying to visualize who is powerful. Is that person so asuric that that person can destroy it, or am I so? It's just simple. You have not experienced the full consciousness. You are getting disturbed by action and reaction. You are reactionary on the surface. That surface reactionary nature should be controlled. Go inside. Who is going to? 100 people call you fool. Will you become fool? But many people keep telling me 100 times people have told me I am like this, I am like that, I am so bad. All these 100 people have told. So only it happens in my life that I feel I am bad. Is that a right way? Not at all. Why allow sanskaras to take place? The yogi is able to. Okay, 1 year here, another year, 2 years have been provided for this reason only. Even if 1 year stops functioning, it's okay. But 2 year, because 1 year you have to hear certain things, other year should be for forgetting it. Let it go out of the other year. That is what yogi is doing. You are so brilliant. That also here from here. Leave it. Don't allow ahankar to come in. Brilliant, foolish, great, very, very, what we can say, source of trouble for the universe. All such titles which we take it happily and leave it also happily because they are not yours. In that yoga sthiti, you are not going to get disturbed. And such a person does not take any pride. Yes, Larita ji says, but it creates an impression in the mind. That is the problem, no? The impressions are created. So with that, we have to do sadhana to remove those. And sometimes avoid the source completely from where the impressions are coming. This is a toxic mentality we have to avoid. Unfortunately, sometimes toxic mentality is in the house only. We can't leave the house, then what can we do? So then we'll have to learn to make the mind stronger. A mind that is strong, no sanskaras can be created on that mind other than the divine sanskar, which the divine will only create. When the divine creates, then it's going to be danger time for the others who are on the wrong side of the divine. That is a different story completely. But here, not in the neither in being the doer nor the cause. This I only did this, I only did that. See, no, no, I should be given credit. This feeling also is not there inside of the yogi. Na ham karta, harihi karta. Divine is the doer. I am no more. I am not to be considered anything important other than just one more instrument of the very millions of instruments in the world. That should be the bhava. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः Na karma phala sanyogam svabhavastu pravartate. We'll stop here. 14th. The Lord of all living beings, the Creator Supreme, created not works nor their ownership in the mortal realm. The feelings of doing works and the fruit seeking desire, it was only nature who thus did conspire. Prakriti is being introduced. We think people are creating sanskar, but we don't realize that Prakriti, the time we are born, from that time onwards, sanskaras are being created on us, little by little. Yogi is able to understand, and that is why yogi starts unlearning first. Unlearning is what? Removing all the knots of the past. Otherwise, we carry too many baggages. I am so and so. It's like, I know, on an empty paper only you can, on an empty canvas only you can draw a beautiful picture, isn't it? You want to write a story, you need an empty canvas. If it's already full, nothing can be done there. It is like that. And Prakriti is responsible, is what Krishna is saying. By Prakriti, everybody gets Ankar. Everybody feels they are doing right. Everybody feels I am the one who is correct. I have to do this. I am the doer. This Ankar is also part of Prakriti, is what Krishna is saying. In a purely conscious state, this Ankar is not required. The doership disappears. But because Prakriti is there, we can blame Prakriti how much ever we want. But consequences of karma bandhana don't go to Prakriti, isn't it? They come to us only. So whoever is the doer is Prakriti, but Bhokta is us only. So we have to become careful whether or not we have done something. We are now in a Srishti. This Srishti is not created by us, but we are experiencing consequences of somebody else also. The feelings of works, the fruit seeking desire, all the time fruit seeking desire comes in. Every action you do, sometimes Swartha comes in or not. Somewhere, unknowingly. I don't know, I should get this, I should get a little more, I should get this outside. It's almost like an addiction that we have. It happens naturally by Prakriti. We can at least say ki chalo theek hai. I was not the source. But that does not mean I have to become a complete robot in the hands of Prakriti. Sadhana is for undoing it. Because one student had asked a very nice question in the kids batch of Krishna's Butter. What, we should not have emotions, we should not have desires. Then does that not mean we will become robots? That was the question a student asked. And it was such a good question. The teacher, we have this rule. If we don't know the answer, we will not quickly say some answer like that. We'll say, we will just check and get back to you tomorrow. And that was one teacher's student or son only who had, one more teacher's son had asked this question. We had a very big discussion, and then Damliji also, our Guruji was also present. So all the teachers were discussing. First, we should appreciate this question of the child. Then the discussion ended in this point. Ki, see, aren't we all having already like robots, driven by desires? We're all already following some code which is not in our control. Each of us gets ahankar, each of us has expectations, each of us, everybody has some dream or the other, isn't it? And that dream is then connected with some desire. And because of that desire, we run in a particular direction. Then desire doesn't get fulfilled, we get frustrated. So this aspect, Prakriti has already made us robots. We are already robots in the hand of Prakriti. Sadhana is required to experience freedom, to undo this program which has been embedded into us unconsciously, manufacturing defect or whatever we want to call it. We have to undo it. The only way we can undo it is by sadhana. But Prakriti's role is being introduced. Later on, we will hear about Prakriti in detail. There is actually a conscious force of Prakriti at play. Purusha and Prakriti is a dance of the divine taking place in the world. So with this, we'll probably stop today. Can someone recollect what is it that we saw? Some of the takeaway points. You can look at it and then have the Shanti mantra. Yes, anybody.
So we saw that we need to be like Padma Patra, where inside they are inside the water, but water doesn't cling with the
Yeah.
leaves of lotus. The same way, when we have problems around or uh, the situation is not favorable, we need to be unaffected. If possible, as much as possible, we need to be unaffected.
Actually, it is more than as much as possible. We have to be completely unaffected because as long as we feel no as much as possible, meaning we will somehow give sanction for some affection, something to happen. Ki, "ठीक है, I am human only. I will get affected little bit by this. Some sanskar
Possible
will
to
be-"
be
Yeah.
unaffected. Like
Sorry, ji?
possibility is there, like we can be 100% unaffected.
Yeah, with so yoga sadhana, I have seen, see, for parents, if you see, they're raising their children is the most important thing, isn't it?
Hmm.
But do you have a guarantee that children will be grateful for your method of parenting?
Not at all.
Not at all, isn't it? And sometimes we see ungratefulness only. We
Yes.
see that. And then what happens? Heart hurts a lot, isn't it?
Yes.
And sometimes you see, parents cannot be blamed for the children. Each child is a unique. After 18 years of age, no, each one is individual. Nobody can be said because of parenting this person. Everybody has the right to live their individual life, individual choices. Nobody can blame them. But I've seen a particular parent being insulted on the face, hurled abuses. Means normally anybody will get frustrated. I've not done like this for you, and you are like this. And everything that was good, that and only reason was they wanted to disturb the parent. They wanted to disturb the parent, and I was seeing in front of me it was happening, and yet that person was quiet. Shanti. I just felt this is like this is the Sitadir Munir Uchyate, it is said. No? How do you identify a Muni who is not first? Means trigger was being continuously the person was being triggered, and yet, and at least that example I can tell you ki yes, it's possible. I saw. Means in the heart of the hearts, everybody will feel emotions, isn't it? I mean, it will
Yes.
be difficult. Why will my own child, somebody I have raised with so much love, why is this child doing this? But this is unfair, right? But what can you do if whom will you complain to? What is there? Sometimes you cannot complain to anybody, isn't it?
So
There,
that means unaffected doesn't mean that you should not feel bad. Unaffected means you should not react.
no, that level of feeling bad, it comes onto the face. No, I feel bad and it will come into my action, it will come into thought. At least you'll have to become detached sometimes. Very difficult moments. But for that, sadhana is required. And sometimes it is not something you have to do it for a moment. It's not like we are going to read, okay, this person insulted me, let me just see 14th Adhyay, 7th Shloka. It's not going to work out like that. We'll have to get into practice. We'll have to get into practice at all times. Okay, all right, all right. It's okay. The person has somebody calls me a fool. Best friend of mine called me a fool. अधिकार है ना बोलने का. This is not a tyrant country. Everybody has freedom of expression. Maybe I am a fool according to that person's point of view. It's okay. But that should not make me feel I am a fool. The moment I allow it, it's like I've allowed a little bit thought. Are see, he also called me fool. She also called me fool. They're also saying I'm too ideal. I'm not practical. I'm going to suffer. I've created a Navadwara closed for every other force except Krishna's force. It is required. It is required to detach completely. That is the ideal. If you aspire for ideal, we go close. We don't fully reach the ideal immediately, isn't it? But we should try that because that is most important. Ji. Otherwise, we then become vulnerable. It's like you've heard of that Trojan horse, isn't it? Trojan horse in the Greek mythology, the story of Troy, how Troy fell. Okay, maybe later on. See, you can search it. It's like there was a small opening that they sent a gift. They sent a
Oh
gift of
yes,
a horse.
everybody
Was
they
hidden
were
inside.
inside. They were hidden
Yeah.
inside that
Yeah. So
horse.
then the entire, yes, it fell. Troy entire, it was supposedly impregnable. That also fell because small. The songs are there in Dil Hai Chota Sa Choti Si Asha. You should hold on to it. No, it's not actually. You don't have to hold on to it. That will not ensure. When it manifests, it will manifest. You will know. You will know what is right. You will know what other person feels. You want somebody to appreciate you and accept you. Do your work. Tomorrow, this person, when the person sees the truth, they will appreciate it. Just by trying to speak in a particular way, it will not ensure. Your efforts will not work that way. So we have to detach. Please continue, madam. Yes, yes. Yeah, you were saying the summary. So, would you like to continue?
Yes, and also like if we lose one of the senses, it doesn't mean that we cease to exist. Like
We are more than
Indriya,
our senses. We are more than our senses.
yes, so they
Yes,
are just one part of existence
part
more
of our
than.
existence.
Uh,
Yeah. The
so,
Atma
but
Shatakam is a nice mantra to meditate upon. Yeah.
yes, but senses they do affect our consciousness, so we need to work upon them to have control on our desires and angers. But yes, of course, they are not whole and soul of our existence,
Yeah, we
right?
saw a shloka in the Gita. Indriyani paranyahur indriyabhya param manah manasastu para buddhi yo buddhi partastu sa. Means if you are level on the senses, you are still in that lowermost realm. Higher than the senses realm is the sense of the mind. Then higher than the mind is the buddhi. Higher than buddhi is the divine. In that divine consciousness, only we experience the greatest ananda. So if we want to experience it, we'll have to at least sacrifice our attachments to the lower consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Gaivaji has shared. Anybody would like to add any points? Otherwise, I'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. All right, then. Let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kasyid dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tatsat. Krishna Vande Jagadguru. Hari Om. Jai Shri Krishna. Pujarmila.
Jai
Hari
Shri
Om,
Krishna.
sir.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Ji.
Sir,
I want to.
quick, I have
Yeah,
very
please, questions will come. Yeah.
so this fourth shloka, where initially also I had doubt, uh, it, it contradicts with the idea, matlab, what we think of Buddha. Like he left everything and then went on the path of the spirituality. And then we say like both can go hand in hand. So
So means if you see that way, you will see Rama and Parshurama contradicting each other, no? If you look at personality wise,
yes,
these
yes,
are
yes,
avatars, isn't it? Sri Rama did what was required at the time. Parshurama's is different. Krishna and Rama also people find contradictions, isn't it?
yes,
So
yes,
each is doing. If you say Buddha is about how reaching through the mind, reaching into a state of highest consciousness directly for an individual. But is Buddha the last avatar? No, isn't it? So each one is doing something. So it's about nirvana prapti. Buddha achieved nirvana after experiencing the suffering of the entire Srishti. And it was like, I cannot tolerate it. There must be some truth. I will realize that truth and I will go and experience it for the sake of the world, isn't it? So
yes.
he applied different tarkas and different ways, and then his anubhav, different. That was his journey. But it is not complete, isn't it? Otherwise, avatarhood would have stopped there only. Each avatar is passing on something. So yes, Buddha created this ground. If if that is possible to become one with the divine, then for the divine to come onto the earth also should be possible. Divinization of matter also should be possible, isn't it? There was a Swamigal called Ramalinga Swamigal or Vallalar. He is very well known for achieving what they call Arut Perun Jyoti or light body dematerialization. It's very crazy to even hear it. It's like, as an engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer and I'm talking about it, it's breaking thermodynamic laws. Just talking about it makes it a little weird. But I have gone to the place where that particular point where he had experienced, even the Britishers who were against him, they have also written down because he went inside, he did not come out, room was closed from all direction, nobody knows what happened after that. So that was dematerialization. Sri Aurobindo's yoga is about material transformation, something supramental transformation, meaning the next consciousness would change the very nature of matter. So probably we're not, it need not be contradicting. That was Buddha's path, no, which he chose.
Then which one to choose? Like whether what is said here or whether
What is more
go by the
comfortable?
past.
Running away from everything looks comfortable. If it is comfortable, you should choose the opposite of comfortable. Garima ji. What is challenging? What is more challenging?
Being surrounded by everything and face.
Yeah. So running away from challenges is not something which we should look up to, isn't it?
Yes.
So yes.
Yes. That's not
And
possible also always.
yeah, we have duties. We have. So probably for us, we look at that route which we see. Yes, ji.
Yes. It is, sir.
All
Yes.
right, ji.
Hariom, sir.
Yeah, I
Hariom.
also had a question that it's mentioned in the sixth shloka that without uniting with the divine, you cannot achieve renunciation.
Yeah.
Without, yeah, so the chronology is that first we'll try for renunciation and then maybe we can connect with the divine, or
No, means chronology, instead
I
of that,
thought
it,
that
it
first
works.
we should practice for this state and then maybe we can connect with the divine.
No, but it doesn't happen like this is achieved. No, I'm practicing it, but it is a continuous process. No, you feel you have renounced, but
Hmm.
suddenly somewhere you see it's not complete. Your past comes into play, previous sanskaras, sometimes vasanas come in between. So how do you, when the vasanas come in between, how do you free yourself? Only if you are having the connection with the divine. Otherwise, you will be trapped in the lower natures. Karma bandhanas and new sanskaras will be created. Meaning, I have done great tapasya, I have learned to meditate very well. I am not going to get frustrated, I'm not going to get emotional. But I meet somebody, I'm very much attracted to somebody, and then I start engaging with that person on an emotional level. Then what's going to happen? I will get trapped only, isn't it? So what happens to the renunciation? It's lost, no? So how do I ensure that I remain connected? It is by being united with the divine. If I am not united with the divine, again, the lower nature will keep pushing. It's like a continuous, force at all time. It is going. It is dynamic, playing at all times. So we have one holding on to factor which we can always hold on to is the divine. When we hold on to the divine, you will be able to, like how they just said, no, that Hamsa is able to separate milk from water.
What?
Something the Hamsa, the
Yes.
Hamsa,
Yes.
Hansa is able to separate milk from water. Like that, holding on to the divine will allow you to tell this is Shreyas, this is Preyas. Oh, this is desirable. It's all right. It's desirable, but I cannot reach out to it because I don't want to lose my consciousness with the divine. So that link must be there. It's not like chronology or something because both have to be continuously tried.
Okay.
Uniting with the divine also suddenly we lose connection again. Like we do meditation also. We sometimes go into meditation and suddenly get lose lower, and sometimes we fall asleep, or sometimes we get outer conscious of something on the outside. Then again we try to bring our mind, thoughts go again we bring it back to. So it is a dynamic action actually, not necessarily chronological.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
all right, Jeet. All right, thank you. Carry on.
Hariom, sir, I had one very small question.
Yes,
Sir,
ma'am.
we saw that we have to be poised and balanced in everything, and we also saw about the difficult situations or difficult people handling. So, maintaining calm or maintaining neutral or detachment is still fine, but when it comes to take
One
decisions together,
question,
with
one
yes,
just thing is,
yes.
do you think when you are keeping the poise, you cannot raise your voice?
No, we should not bear injustice. That is what
No, no, not injustice. I'm saying, agar chillana padega, so can you be calm and shout loudly also?
that can be done, but we should not feel the hatred or we should not feel the anger from inside. Maybe we are just raising voice, probably to put the
Yes,
point ahead.
yes,
That is
yes.
what I understood, sir. But I wanted to ask you, sir, when it comes to taking decisions together with such people who are not at all understanding you, or maybe not at all understanding your point. So, sir, how to get that approach? There is nothing like losing calm or something. Very very calm and very subtle. But when to take decisions together with such people, you feel tired at some
Yeah.
point because of
Yes.
the non-acceptance to what the point is, or non-understanding to your. So I hope I'm trying to say my
No, I could
question is
understand it. No, it is
okay.
clear. It is very clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is what they
Please,
call
please guide on this, sir.
yes, ma'am. And I think you can call me Sushruत only. It will be easier. This sir and this prefixes or suffix is not required. But yes, ji, so this aspect of emotional draining takes place when we deal with people. And I think previously in the Gita there was a shloka, na buddhi bhedam. Do you remember it, Vidisha ji, Dr. Vidisha ji? Na
So
buddhi
I do
bhedam.
not remember the exact
Okay,
shloka, but yes,
okay.
sir.
So means it was about how everybody is not going to be ideal, especially when you're working in a system of people with different people. Some people will have higher aspirations, some may have lower aspirations. Like now, we are going on a beach cleaning drive. We are trying to, remove trash. Trash means what am I doing? I'm picking up diapers and glass bottles. I'm not a drinker, but I'm collecting alcohol bottles. Happily, so many bottles and all. This is one nature. But there's also one more nature where somebody is purposely breaking the bottle and putting it in sand so unknown person may get hurt by it. This is an opposite nature, isn't it? Now, if I get emotionally disturbed in 100,000, how many people have told, what are you going to do? You bunch of 10 people, 15 people, what you're going to clean up Pondicherry's beach? How is it going to happen? We are all quiet because we don't want to change their person's view. We're allowing them to speak because we cannot prevent anybody from speaking, isn't it? The one who has got Nobel Prize also, people will say, so what? For the biggest achievement in the world. So this aspect is we are not going to make anybody understand our opinion, and of course we are not going to contest elections that we want votes from people that everybody should agree to our opinion. But if you want work as a team, you will have to identify a middle path where without creating divide. Because what happens is you have one view. I feel like this. You have said a diametrically opposite view. Then it is tu will start. Instead, this is a great, brilliant idea, but why don't we work on this? We can try to find a middle path also. We cannot, first thing is not getting drained by opposite responses. That is important because ultimately that is the thing. Most of the meetings which take place, we don't see anything fruitful coming out. They say, let us go ahead next meeting. But sometimes if you find other people who are resonating your view, say in a meeting of 5 people, 6 people, find and try to go towards that point. If I think since it's a generalized question, so I'm not able to specifically answer about which meeting, but we have experienced how opposite people also have agreed, because reconciliation will happen when even opposite opinions come together. That is the ideal of any meeting also. Means if that can be achieved, it is brilliant, but it's very rare. Only our part is we shouldn't get ourselves disturbed, and second is do not try to create disturbance inside of another person's mind. We know that their tarka is wrong. Unless necessary, don't go and tell your idea is wrong. Even you tell your point correctly, clearly, it will resonate with another person who agrees with it. Or at least you will identify if you are the only one who is having the right idea. You will find it pointless then to speak more than that is required. I do not know, Dr. Vidisha ji, if this is making sense or connecting with what you have asked.
Yes, sir. I mean, I was more focusing on like right or wrong, no, but at least if someone is putting out the point, it should be respected. And if we have to take decisions together, then both the points should
Are,
be
are
taken
you
into
the moderator?
consideration. And
Are you the moderator in that meeting? If you are the
no,
moderator, it
sir,
becomes
but
your dharma. If
no,
you
sir,
are the
but
moderator, yeah, please go on, ji.
yeah,
Yeah.
moderator, yeah, to some extent, yes, I would say yes, because then it is the dharma to take a decision together for. Sir, I'm
Then
talking
you,
about certain personal meetings, not professionally, because
not
professionally, okay, we
professional.
can detach,
Okay, personal
but
meetings, then it
personally,
is
sir,
more fun. Personal
I can't
meetings,
be
you will
more
have more
specific.
fun. No, that is fine. That is
but
fine. Personal meetings, you can be more
but yeah,
because
thank you.
one easy aspect of Na Buddhi Vedam is nobody likes to sound bad, no? Everybody who does wrong also wants to justify their wrong action. So it is very easy when you show the mirror very quietly to such people.
Understood, sir.
In personal meeting, he's like, Haha, I know you never want to do like this. This simple dialogue, actually, I've seen people get very irritated when, no, just this morning, somebody actually almost killed some bird because of keeping a sticky pad of rodent trap. And so we wanted to tell not to keep it. But then that person, if you tell something, the person will react in the opposite manner. So what did we do? We just created a small video of it, and we said, I know you are you're an animal lover. You love birds. You see the beautiful sound of sparrows. We are missing all of it. So I know you will definitely work for all of us and ensure that this does not happen. And somehow it had a 50% action. Instead of how dare you, who are you, and to my fight, it actually went to a subtler level, though it did not solve. But making a person realize is possible. To understand that, you have to become detached. Otherwise, you'll get emotional. My uncle, my brother, my sister, my friend, they spoke like this. My dear person is also speaking. What can I do? No, we are not helpless. The moment we feel helpless because we are backstabbed, no, that is where you have already surrendered, no? It's like, I expect
Understood.
justice. And the house are you going to expect for justice? At least this much. You are going go to the courts, you say, my lords, but why elsewhere you are going to become, you are seeking justice. That means you have already surrendered. You have already given up one part of your understanding that that person is superior to you because that person is able to dictate terms on you. So if you can be one step quiet, nobody wants to look like a bad guy or bad girl or bad woman or bad man. Just keep the mirror in front. Yeah, Chari, so you feel like this? All right. It's okay. A detached approach helps. Truth is, you cannot change anybody's opinion no matter what you do. It will change when it has to. Only you can ensure somebody's opinion does not affect you adversely. For that, you have to be balanced.
Understood, sir. Very
Yeah.
beautifully explained. Thank you so much,
Hari Om.
Hariom.
Thank you. Hari Om ji. Namaskaram. Again, Dr. Vidisha ji, you can call me Sushrut or my Bhaiya or anything else. Sir is, I think it's anyway an English construct. We are studying
Surely,
Sanatana
surely.
scripture. Ji, ji. Yes, ji. All right. Hari Om. Namaskar. Hari Om.